We have major breaking new developments exposing corruption surrounding quid pro quo Joe and his family. Zero experience Hunter being paid millions. It is only the tip of the iceberg. Now, a brand new book out today by Peter Schweizer called Profiles in Corruption. And it goes on to say abuse of power by America's progressive elite sheds more light on how the Biden family, Joe in particular, and those around him appear to have used all that power inside of Washington in the swamp to get family sweetheart deals with no experience for years, including brand new information about the shady dealings of zero experience Hunter. But first, we start with Joe's younger brother. His name's James Biden. His commercial ventures conveniently flourished during the same exact time his brother was vice president. And as Peter Schweizer lays out, just days after a family friend visited the Obama-Biden White House in 2010, the same friend who was the head of a construction company called Hillstone hired James Biden as its executive vice president, despite him apparently having little to no experience in the field. Now, in the months to come, Hillstone would receive a series of lucrative government contracts. And the family perks didn't stop there. Joe's other brother, that would be Frank Biden, also appeared to use his family's political capital. He could cash in, because as Joe Biden became Obama's point man in Latin America and the Caribbean around 2009, Joe took what was considered a rare and symbolic visit to Costa Rica. Well, wouldn't you know it, shortly after, Frank Biden inked a big development deal to build a resort in the country, despite having, apparently, little experience in this type of development. All right, here to explain it more, author. This book is a bombshell. It also gets into issues involving Bernie Sanders, Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, and others. Profiles in corruption, abuse of power by America's progressive elite. Peter Schweizer. All right. I want you to, this now is not a game. This is now an enterprise. If it was the Hannity team, what company would ever pay anybody millions of dollars with zero experience? Could you name, why would any company do that, Peter? Do you know any company that would do that?
No, only companies or entities that are interested in influencing the federal government or having access to the highest levels of government. There's no coincidence, Sean, that all the deals that you talked about, whether it's Hunter, whether it's James, whether it's Frank, all of them occur when? During this 8-year period when Joe Biden is vice president of the United States. He'd been a prominent senator before that, but the ship really came in as far as these financial deals when he was vice president, because all of these entities either wanted something from him or they wanted to please the vice president of the United States, and the Biden family got rich as a result.
Okay, let's go through the specifics of this. How much money are we talking about? Did they ever lose money on these deals, or did they make a ton of money? And when you say no experience, are you saying the brothers had no experience or little experience?
Yeah, I mean, let's take the Iraq contracts for housing construction. You know, we don't know how much money was made by James Biden in that case, because he doesn't have to disclose. But here's what we know. This Hillstone International company was set up. There was a meeting in the White House on November 4th, 2010. The only time the CEO of this company ever visited the White House, went to Joe Biden's office. Literally 3 weeks later, James Biden is appointed vice president of that company. And then about 3 to 6 months later, they get this contract to build 100,000 homes in Iraq. Now, if you look at the bio that the company, Hillstone International, listed for James Biden, it didn't mention anything about construction experience. It said he knew his way around the corridors of power. He had political contact. It made note of the fact that his brother was vice president of the United States. So it's very, very clear why he was hired. It was hired, I think, in part to secure these contracts and also to run interference if there were political pressures that were brought to bear.
So is it fair to say that everybody around the Joe Biden was using his influence and his power to get deals that no other American would ever be able to get on their own? And I wanted to get your theory. Why is it when Joe says you're not getting the billion? You're not, unless you fire the prosecutor, who, of course, was investigating zero experience Hunter paid millions. The media won't touch it. they actually just say, no, in one voice, in unison, oh, no real credible person has ever suggested anything. That is a lie, because everybody I know laughs when they say that.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, to your first question, Sean, we call them the Biden Five. There are 5 Biden family members who cashed in while he was vice president. You've got Hunter, you've got his daughter Ashley, through her husband and a business that he literally set up basically in the Oval Office with Joe Biden's help. You've got James, you've got Frank, and then you've got his sister Valerie. All of them benefited from the political power and influence of Joe Biden, and they cashed in during this period.
When we come back, thank you, Peter. See you tomorrow. Rush Limbaugh explaining why the Democrats look so miserable on TV. I think he's nailed it. That's next.